This comes to us from Basil the Great, who says 4chan, this is breaking, by the way, 4chan given first fine by Ofcom for not upholding Online Safety Act. £20,000 must be paid by the 13th of November. 4chan have said they have absolutely no intention of paying it. No one respects Keir Starmer. No one respects this law. Trump will laugh in Starmer's face over this. 4chan, UK government trying to police memes that upset Keir Starmer. Bagger. And we have a follow-up here by the lawyer, Preston Byrne, who is representing 4chan and Kiwi Farms alongside my lawyer, Ron Coleman, in the lawsuit with Ofcom. Preston Byrne says 4chan's constitutional rights remain completely unaffected by this foreign email. 4chan will obey UK censorship laws when pigs fly. In the meantime, there's no litigation pending in DC. Ofcom hasn't yet answered. We'll see Ofcom in court. And this is in reference to Britain. Ofcom issues its first fine. This is the thing, by the way. They know full well over there in the Office of Communications in the UK that 4chan is going to go tell them to pound sand. They know that. And they still process and go through the paperwork to do it. Why? Because they want to create a mantra of, yes, you break the law, we're going to fine you for it. It's the dumbest thing possible, but they still move forward. Preston continues. He says, you have to laugh. That Americans don't obey British censors is settled law here. Ofcom might as well have ordered that the moon be made of cheese. That fine will never be enforced in the USA. The UK is welcome to try to enforce it in an American court if they disagree. I add that Ofcom, in its fine decision, reserved the right to hide behind sovereignty immunity to escape accountability in the US courts. Some of my clients don't benefit from the First Amendment, but Ofcom gets to benefit from FSIA. Congress should fix. It's quote tweeting, Ofcom fully reserves all its rights in relation to the complaint under all applicable laws, including but not limited to its right to object to the jurisdiction of the U.S. District Court for the District of Columbia on the basis of sovereign immunity, lack of subject matter jurisdiction, lack of personal jurisdiction. What's this? This like a diplomatic immunity. Is that lethal weapon? Or any other applicable ground. It would not be appropriate for us to address these claims made under U.S. law here, and we do not consider it necessary for the purpose of making our decisions. Preston continues. He says, the fact that the UK is threatening American citizens with fines and jail time for free speech and prepares to hide behind U.S. law as it does so is a political problem that needs to be handled now at the topmost levels of American government if it is to cease going forward. My GRANITE Act proposal, sent to a number of NH General Court representatives yesterday evening, would strip sovereign immunity from any foreign state that tries to censor Americans. Congress should follow its example, as should every single U.S. state. A foreign state, foreign agency, or foreign instrumentality that engages in conduct described in Section 3 shall not be immune from the jurisdiction of the courts of the state. Doctrine of sovereign immunity shall be deemed waived for any act undertaken to enforce or threaten enforcement of a foreign law that is contrary to the public policy or constitutional guarantees of the United States or to the state of this case in New Hampshire. And he says, foreign censors waiving the U.S. Foreign Sovereign Immunities Act at U.S. citizens attempting to defend constitutional rights in U.S. courts proves one thing. We need to strip sovereign immunity from foreign censors and impose hefty statutory penalties for their conduct. Brazil also tried to enforce its content moderation law against 4chan today. What a coincidence. Our reply, oh my God, here we go. So it's not just the UK. This is a problem, by the way. If a country allows one to get in and say, okay, we're going to hear you out, we're going to work with you on this, then other countries that are trying to do the same type of thing start to pile on, think that there's an in to get access and push their digital ID system across borders, enforce their own policies on your own territory, in your own soil. From Preston, sir, I represent 4chan. You may be aware that the papal line of demarcation did not make landfall in the North Atlantic Ocean. Accordingly, you will need to utilize the U.S.-Brazil Mutual Legal Assistance Treaty or other appropriate international legal process for this request, which appears to be an attempt to enforce Brazilian censorship law against a U.S. company. Those orders are not binding on American citizens and businesses. See the Trump versus Tech. I blind copy relevant individuals in the U.S. federal government in order to alert the U.S. federal government of this cross-border censorship attempt. My client reserves all rights. What a banger. God, this guy's awesome. I may try to get him on a Smashcast one of these nights, by the way. I've chatted with him before about that. He's got a lot going on, but it is something we're potentially working. When Australia finally gets around to it, I'm going to respond in the style of Crocodile Dundee. He already knows Australia's coming for him next. More from Ofcom's notice. We note 4chan's submission that Ofcom does not have jurisdiction to take enforcement action on the grounds that ... Ofcom has no power to enforce UK laws in the US. We do not accept this point. The UK says the US isn't sovereign. We note 4chan's submission of Ofcom does not have jurisdiction, and we do not accept this point. This is his response in the lawsuit. This is a straight-up sovereignty fight between the UK and the US now. The UK says US law doesn't apply on US soil. They said so in writing. And they also said they're immune under US law. The audacity. When will Congress and Trump administration act? And he continues saying, quote tweeting Jen, this is so ludicrous, it's not worthy of a response. He said, we will not be responding. Our response to this was filed in D.C. federal court 6 weeks ago. I add, there was not a lot of legislative velocity for stripping sovereign immunity for foreign censors 24 hours ago. I hope now that a foreign censor has tried to hide behind sovereign immunity while also trying to censor Americans, that this may change. He updated it. Man, this is happening fast. 6 hours ago. There is a draft bill now, by the way. It was sent to relevant individuals last night, approximately 4 hours before Ofcom's letters landed in my inbox. TLDR, we aren't going to permanently stop foreign censorship of U.S. citizens and companies with lawsuits. We need a new law to address the threat. I think the chances of getting that new law are materially higher today than 24 hours ago. And the law that he's trying to get enacted here is one that would force fines, penalties, and enact some sort of restrictions on other governmental bodies outside of the U.S. for daring to try to push around companies in the U.S. This is something that should never have happened in the first place. And as soon as they tried to find an in with 4chan and Kiwi Farms, they knew those were the easy targets to try to create a precedent to then move on to other companies, corporations, and maybe even perhaps individuals in the United States and act on social media posts and what people are saying as individuals and find a way. I know it sounds crazy, but welcome to the UK in 2025, that they want to enact their own laws that somehow are flying there. And I still to this day don't know how that's even happening across the planet, especially specifically in the United States. And I don't know how to tell the UK this, but we fought off the British before and won before, and we'll do it again if we have to. Don't make us rally together on this one, please. But yeah, that is the situation right now with the current ongoing lawsuit with 4chan and Kiwi Farms, with Preston Byrne and Ron Coleman. I don't see this going anywhere outside of new laws being enacted in the U.S. to prevent this from ever happening again in the first place in the future. The UK has no jurisdiction here. They can't do this kind of thing. They're trying to create a precedent in order to be able to do it even more in other places. And in a weird way, I'll leave it with this. It reminds me directly of the lawsuit I'm dealing with right now with Alyssa Mercante suing me, and she has no jurisdiction, in my humble opinion, suing me from New York when I'm in California on a law that doesn't even exist, stochastic terrorism, trying to get that law enacted, not just to get at me and get a W and hold one over the chuds for me, But the repercussions for that, if a judge were to see it her way, enact that law, make it become law in New York, which would be wild. There are a lot of hoops to jump through for that to even happen in the first place. But if that were to come true, what a monumental catastrophe it would be for the entire state of New York. Because these lawyers, especially the ones that are representing Alyssa, would then use that law to go after everyone they see fit under the stochastic terrorism law that would just have been enacted. And oh, by the way, what is stochastic terrorism? I don't even know. It's apparently the you're not doing anything, but you're the ringleader that has influence on other people, and because they can tangentially connect you to those other people that are mad at you, now you're the one at fault for it, but you've never actually done anything. Again, it is a very weak case. Many lawyers have told me this, but until a judge actually says it, I will not rest easy. It's a very stressful situation for me and the family to be dealing with. It's a very expensive situation for me and the family to be dealing with. I've mentioned this before too. I am already over $50,000 deep into my lawsuit against Alyssa as of right now. And it is looking like it has no end in sight, which is extremely concerning because it hasn't even gotten to the courtroom yet. It hasn't even been accepted as a case yet. So I imagine my situation could get extremely expensive and very concerning, which is exactly, I think, what Alyssa is doing right now, is trying to scare me away and make me just give up and just pay her and just say I'm sorry or whatever and make this all go away. That's unfortunately, I feel like she is using the law to bully me, to threaten me, to scare me. And it hasn't worked. And thanks to the community supporting me, it will not work. So now she's doubling down instead of admitting that she's the one in the wrong, doubling down and trying to make up other things about me. And I'm like, no, this is not how it's working. This is not good. But yeah, anyway, I kind of got off on a tangent there. Just it reminded me on that situation. This is what we're dealing with the UK trying to impose laws in America and spread the virus of these laws in other places. It's very dangerous, extremely, extremely dangerous. The precedent that it could set would send ripples throughout the entire society on the whole. But I will leave that one there.